Hi, I'm Steve Mistler, State House and Government reporter for the Portland Press Herald. I'm joined today by Congressman Mike Michaud, who's running for governor in 2014. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me, Steve. Appreciate it.
Can we talk a little bit about your decision to run? It's sort of widely assumed that you're in a pretty safe congressional seat, and that this is going to be a tough race, particularly with at least 3 candidates in the race.
Well, the reason why I decided to run is because I do love the state of Maine. I was born and raised here in Maine. I'm concerned with the direction that this governor has brought Maine so far and where he's heading. I have the vision, the experience, and the commitment to move Maine forward in a positive light and create jobs for the middle class here in the state of Maine.
Is there anything that you would do on day one if you were to be successful in 2014? What would be your first executive order, for example?
Actually, there'll be a lot of things I'll be looking forward to hit the ground running. The first would be to expand access to health care for the 70,000 people here in the state of Maine, which 3,000 are veterans, and take advantage of the Affordable Care Act. That actually will save the state money, about $600 million over a 10-year time frame, plus cover 70,000 people here in the state of Maine, which is very important. The other issue is the exchanges. A lot of states are developing their own exchange unique to their individual states. Our current governor has refused to establish an exchange for Maine. And that, when you look at some of the other states, what they've been able to do, some states were able to cut health care costs by as much as 50%. Because it's unique to their state, and that's something I'll definitely do as governor, is have an exchange that's unique to Maine, that addresses Maine's unique needs.
Your reputation is sort of based in your 29 years, I think it was, in the working in a mill. You certainly resonate with 2nd Congressional District voters. Do you feel like you need to change any particular positions going forward to appeal to the 1st Congressional District, where southern Maine is kind of, some parts of it are considered to be a little bit more liberal?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I worked at Great Northern Paper Company for over 29 years, punching the time clock, worked shift work at the mill. People up there work extremely hard in the 2nd District. But we have those same type of people here in the 1st District, whether it's Saco, Bedford, York County, Portland. People work very hard. We have a lot of manufacturing jobs here in Maine, and that's something that I'll be able to bring my experience working as a blue-collar worker and serving in the legislature and now in Congress. That's a unique experience that I've learned. And to get along, both not only when I worked in the mill, helping one another out if a paper machine was down, but that same experience in the legislature, working with Republicans, Democrats, and Independents to really forge ideas to move Maine forward in the right direction. And that's where that experience definitely comes in. And my commitment, work long hours at the mill, 12-hour shifts, 12 hours on, 12 hours, 7 days a week. And that's something I'll definitely bring to Augusta, that commitment to really work hard to move Maine forward, whether you work in the mill, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a small business owner. Those are the things that Maine need, is someone that's committed to the state of Maine. And I do love the state of Maine. I was born and raised here, lived here all my life. And I know what the people are going through and struggling throughout the state of Maine, not only in the 2nd District.
Your official launch of your campaign is about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and during the speech you gave, you took some pretty, I thought, were strong comments about Governor LePage's management style, his comments that he's made, that sort of thing. But you've also said since then that you disagree with his policies. And I guess the question I have is, which is, in your view, which is more harmful from your perspective?
It's both. It's that management style that the governor has shown that he's delivering here. My management style is definitely different than the governor's. As a governor, I view the governor being a chief spokesperson for the state of Maine, someone who is willing to actually have outside investment come into the state of Maine, try to get businesses to grow. That stability is very important. The uncertainty that's out there today is causing us problems, and that's one of the reasons why Maine is one of 3 states that actually have lost jobs over the last year. On issues, likewise, when you look at the governor vetoing a compromise that was put forward in the state Senate on the Affordable Care Act, he vetoed it. And that not only affected people who would benefited from the health care expansion, but also cost the state money. The voters, when the voters approve a bond issue, that means that they support that particular bond issue. Some of the bond issues that the governor had decided not to move forward with, saying because he's concerned about the budget, is wrong, because that hurts us economically and budget. Every governor and legislature has to balance the budget. It's in the Constitution. But what this governor has done is he actually caused a huge structural gap outside the budget cycle, which actually causes the uncertainty that's currently out there and shifting costs onto the municipalities. He surprisingly, being a former mayor of Waterville, what he did in his budget, cutting revenue sharing, shifting unfunded liability, retirement system back on municipality, that hurts municipalities. We have to work together. And as governor, that's one thing I will do, is work together, not only with Republicans, Democrats, and independents in the legislature, but also the different groups, municipalities, county government. It's, working together, you can accomplish so much more.
Your opponent, Elliot Cutler, has early in the campaign, even before you declared it, made an issue of your position on background checks. Do you wish to clarify that further?
Well, actually, Maine has a strong tradition of hunting and fishing here in the state of Maine, and gun safety issues is very important. Talking to sportsmen throughout the 2nd District, as well as throughout the entire state of Maine, one thing I hear from them is they favor enhancing background checks. You look at what has happened in Newtown, Connecticut, which is devastating. I met with the folks, several different groups from Newtown, and just hearing their stories about the loved ones that they lost is very heartwarming, and I know they're very concerned. And background checks is something I support. I made it very clear when the Senate brought the bill up for a vote over on the Senate side. And as governor, I would definitely be working with the Maine legislature to move forward with background checks here in Maine.
Of course, that would run into some opposition from the National Rifle Association, which has opposed that kind of legislation. You're saying here that you're willing to take on the NRA if such a bill were to come forward through the legislature.
I think I've talked to NRA members here in Maine, and folks from the Sportsman Alliance of Maine. They do support, by and large, background checks, and here's something that I think we can agree on. Moving forward with some type of enhanced background checks that will definitely help move the whole gun safety issue, forward.
Could you talk a little bit more? I think the other thing that might come up is your position on women's rights, abortion. Can you talk a little bit about what your position is there, and which may or may not be a little bit different from when you were in the legislature?
The different bills we dealt with in Maine legislature has been different than what we've been dealing with in Congress. When I started the Maine legislature, I was 25 years old, and I have evolved on that issue. The big difference being, since I became a member of Congress, I've actually had the opportunity to sit down and talk to women who've have made some of those very, very tough decisions, personal decisions in their lives. And that's something that really, I take to heart and have evolved around that. I made it very clear that as governor, I would veto any attempt to change the Maine Reproductive Privacy Act, which mirrors Roe versus Wade. As governor, we have a lot to do, and we can't be focused on issues as controversial as the abortion issue. And I want to make it very clear that I will veto any bill that deals with the Maine Reproductive Privacy Act.